want to welcome you to this baccalaureate service. I also want to share with you very briefly that this large, formal space was intended to welcome everyone. We want you to relax. The things that we have prepared for you will not take all evening long. We will be here for approximately an hour. So those of you who are worried about dinner and parties can get to those things. And I do want to say at this moment in time that we've had to make a few changes, and I want to call your attention to those. We have as torchbearer Austin Burbaum instead of Aaron Stokovitz. We have a couple of additional banner bearers, Katrina Kortson David and Caroline De Angelis. And our Islamic reading will be done by Haya Mohana. We are going to take a moment and share peace, and then I'm invited my Roman Catholic Campus Minister Associate Elizabeth Smith to share the invocation. But let us begin by welcoming each other and sharing God's peace. Peace be with you. And also with you. Let us share peace with one another.
On this beautiful and special day, let us pray and give thanks for our many blessings. Gracious God, thank you. Thank you for bringing us to this day as we congratulate the class of 2017 and celebrate their achievements. You have blessed them. You have given them talent and energy. You have helped them to discipline themselves, to acquire knowledge and skill. You have helped them to succeed here at Gettysburg College. Now, as they begin the next stage of their life's journey, we ask you to also give them wisdom. Wisdom to use their knowledge and skills in ways that serve their communities. Wisdom to make choices that will not only lead them to personal fulfillment, but also to help them dream and create a better world. Bless them and keep them close to all that is good. Help them to achieve the hopes and dreams that have grown in their hearts during these past 4 years. Bless also all who have nurtured and helped to prepare them for this moment, parents and families, teachers and mentors, friends and classmates. A journey like this is never taken alone. And so now we ask for your blessing upon all who are gathered for these ceremonies. May all that we are and all that we do bring your goodness and love into the world. Confident in your boundless love, we pray for all these things.
Amen. Please welcome our college president, Dr. Janet Morgan Riggs.
Members of the class of 2017, families, friends, and colleagues, it's my pleasure to welcome you here today for our annual baccalaureate ceremony. For many of you graduates, this is a hectic time of receptions and gatherings. I know some of you have returned from a week off campus celebrating. I'll leave it at that. Some of you have spent the past couple of days frantically packing or getting ready to welcome family. This might feel like a whirlwind weekend, but for this next hour, I encourage you to just take a deep breath, relax, and make this baccalaureate service a time for reflection. And as you reflect on your time here at Gettysburg, I know that you will surely think about the people you've come to know a theme that I'll pick up on tomorrow during your commencement ceremony. You'll think of faculty who've mentored you, encouraged you, challenged you, helped ignite your academic passions, and yes, perhaps on occasion even exasperated you. Faculty who've helped you select courses, asked you to join in their research, or treated you and your classmates to a meal together. And of course, there are many other people, sometimes working quietly behind the scenes, who have also contributed to your Gettysburg experience. Our college life staff, who've worked long, tireless hours to ensure that you have a great residential experience. Advisors and mentors in the Center for Global Education, the Center for Public Service, GRAB, Garthwaite Leadership Center, the Eisenhower Institute, and our Center for Career Development, who've pushed you to explore new opportunities and new communities here in Gettysburg, across the country, and around the world. Coaches, academic advisors, and work study supervisors, many of whom have encouraged you to be your best selves and who've kept an eye out for you while you've been away from your families. The many hands across campus that have brought together traditional events like our annual Thanksgiving dinner, your first year walk, the twilight hour, and celebration. Groundskeepers who maintain this beautiful campus, facilities staff who sometimes had to clean up after you, our DPS staff who've done their best to keep you safe, and those bakers who make those great servo cookies we all love. As you reflect on your time at Gettysburg, you'll also think about your friends and acquaintances. You'll remember your first-year roommate, regardless of whether you remain close. You'll recall shared meals, walks in town or on the battlefield, heart-to-heart conversations over coffee, cheers of support as you played on a field or performed on a stage, and long hours together in the library. And of course, who can forget those late nights at LD's? Here at Gettysburg, it's the people who make this place so very special. The bonds that you have forged with each other and with this college are lifelong. You will always be a Gettysburgian. Tomorrow, you'll join the ranks of Gettysburg College alumni, a community of more than 27,000 accomplished and engaged individuals who've changed the world in both subtle and powerful ways. We will be sad to see you go. We will miss you. But we are also very excited to see what the future holds for you, and we look forward to hearing about your accomplishments in the years to come. And of course, we will always welcome you back home to Gettysburg. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our faculty speaker, Professor of Political Science, Bruce Larson.
Thank you. Welcome, graduating students, parents, families, colleagues. These sorts of speeches are always filled with lots of advice for graduates, and I've always been a little uncomfortable with that model. For dispensing advice assumes that we, the adults offering the advice, have it all figured out, and you, the students, will be fine if you just heed what we grown-ups have to say. Of course, one look at the state of the world today should tell you that adults are far from having it all figured out. So, my unease about dispensing advice prompted me to ask a lot of people for suggestions on what I might talk about. I even crowdsourced the question on social media, where my various connections gave me all sorts of suggestions ranging from the practical, avoid careers subject to automation, to the ethical, tell them to be kind, they will never regret it, to the literary, that the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. One Gettysburg alum urged me to dispense with any and all advice. These kids have a lot of people telling them what to do with their lives already, he said, and it's probably not making their heads any clearer. He suggested I talk instead about my own experience after graduating from college when I moved to Los Angeles with the intent of supporting myself by playing bass in a rock band. I'm not going to talk about this. But the fact that I speak here today as a faculty member and not a famous rock musician should give you a sense about how things worked out in Los Angeles. My 16-year-old daughter, who is uniquely able and willing to cut to the chase as only a 16-year-old can, offered some very blunt and sage advice. "Don't be a buzzkill," she said. This is, of course, difficult for me since I study politics and American politics, but I will try. In any case, I decided I would talk very briefly, about something I know a little about, our constitutional democracy and the obligations of democratic citizenship. For while you have completed your coursework at Gettysburg College, your obligations as a democratic citizen have only just begun. Democracy is about self-government. Nobody is exempt. Even in a representative democracy, such as ours, where elected officials make laws, responsibility ultimately resides with citizens. So it should go without saying, I think, that we are fortunate to live in a constitutional democracy. But with authoritarian regimes and leaders on the rise worldwide, it strikes me as useful to take a minute to remind ourselves why we ought to be committed to democracy and its ideals. According to the late Yale political scientist Robert Dahl, the main reason for valuing democracy is really quite simple. Quote, "It helps to prevent government by cruel and vicious autocrats." In his 1998 book titled On Democracy, Dahl wrote that throughout all recorded history, including our own times, leaders driven by megalomania, paranoia, self-interest, ideology, nationalism, religious belief, conviction of innate superiority, sheer emotion, and impulse have exploited the state's exceptional capacities for coercive and violence to serve their own ends. The human cost of despotic rule rival those, he wrote, of disease, famine, and war. So democracy offers no guarantees against oppression, as amply demonstrated by our own history. But there can be no doubt that democracy, coupled with a strong Bill of Rights and constitutional government, offers more hope than competing forms of government for guaranteeing crucial rights and protections to all individuals. As theologian Reinhold Niebuhr wrote in 1944, "The perils of uncontrolled power are perennial reminders of the virtues of democratic society." Democracy, though, I would add, does more than just protect us. It allows people, given the proper resources, to flourish as human beings. It aims for political equality, it nurtures and rewards creativity, it cultivates human development, and allows people to protect and define their own interests. Democracy is, in addition to these virtues, the form of political social organization most likely to advance one of the core values of this college, recognizing the worth and dignity of all people and the limitless value of their intellectual potential. So democracy, then, is the last best hope we have, not only for checking abuses of power by tyrannical leaders, but also for realizing our positive aspirations individually and also as a nation. And yet, there is a rub. You're smiling, you know this. Democracies don't run by themselves. They are more fragile than they look, and they need maintenance and nurturing. And the battlefields that surround this town offer vivid reminders of what happens when we fail. So maintaining democracy requires work on your part in the form of both intellectual and civic engagement. By intellectual engagement, I mean first and foremost staying informed about public affairs. According to the 2016 National Elections Survey Study, a comprehensive study conducted every 4 years in the week preceding the presidential election, only about half of all Americans knew which political party controlled the United States Congress. Only half. Keep in mind that a survey respondent had a 50% chance of getting the answer correct just by guessing. This is basic factual information about the U.S. government's, and yet roughly half of the adult population didn't know the answer. And this was just days before a historically important election would take place. Not surprisingly, Democratic theorists underscore the relationship between democracy and education, stressing that a politically ignorant population can hardly govern itself well. Staying informed is even more important today as problems become increasingly complex and the consequences of getting it wrong become greater. So sharpening the habits of mind you developed here is crucial. How we engage is also important. Engagement in democratic politics requires an uneasy mix of fierce conviction and detached skepticism. While we must be firm and unyielding in our commitment to human rights and political equality and fair political processes, the foundations on which democracy is premised, we must also recognize that reasonable people can disagree over policy prescriptions. And while our political orientation inevitably shapes how we see things, we ought to resist the temptation to evaluate political and policy claims based solely on who is making them. Independent standards of evidence should matter. Now, trying to see beyond our own political worldview doesn't mean we can't or shouldn't have partisan commitments. Quite the contrary, says political theorist Russell Muirhead. He says that democratic politics needs partisans. Motivated by conviction, partisans infuse energy and spirit into the democratic political systems. They vote, they stuff envelopes, they knock on doors, they drive people to the polls, they make phone calls, they contribute money, they design strategy, they run for office. They do the work of democracy. But, Muirhead adds, democracy requires us to be reasonable partisans. The best partisans, he writes, hope their side wins, yet know that victory should never be total. They are brave enough to stand up publicly for what they see, yet capacious enough to know that what they see is not the whole of things. This partisanship is capable of reflecting with some detachment on one's stand, perhaps even able to entertain one's political enemies in grudging good cheer. That's a tall order, especially the good cheer part. But we must strive for that ideal if we want our constitutional democracy to work. The other critical component to maintaining democracy is civic engagement. Now, scholars define civic engagement in multiple ways, both political and non-political. And here I define it simply as working with others in some way, shape, or form to make a positive difference in the communities where you live. I know that many of you have volunteered on campus and in the surrounding community through the Center for Public Service, one of the true gems of this college, and I strongly urge you to continue doing this work. Volunteer for the local school where you live or for community service organizations like El Centro or Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Join the local chapter of the United Way in your area or one of the hundreds of local community-based groups. Join a faith community. Put in time at the local food kitchen or start one if your community is in need. Work on the school PTA when you have kids, then run for town council or for school board when you feel ready. Get involved and stay involved. Encouraging you to engage locally isn't just a feel-good suggestion. Social scientists have long stressed the importance of local civic engagement in creating a dense, robust, and connected democracy. Not only do community-based organizations help address problems, they are, in the view of many democratic theorists, tuition-free schools of democracy, where citizens learn to work together for common purposes and build trust through face-to-face interactions with people from different backgrounds. The bonds built through these efforts, scholars call it social capital, are especially critical as our communities grow more diverse ethnically, racially, and culturally. Democracy, writes Deborah Stone, one of my favorite political scientists, begins when citizens come together to make a better life for everyone. Democracy is a pact to help each other. Civic engagement in your communities is central to this pact. So don't get me wrong. By highlighting your obligations as a democratic citizen, I am not telling you to forego making money or to stop having fun. Money is necessary, getting new stuff can be enjoyable, and having fun is, well, fun. Getting your first car or apartment or house will no doubt be a thrill. But I can tell you this, in the end, beyond a comfortable subsistence level, acquisition is usually not what makes people happy or gives people durable meaning in their lives. And research bears me out on this. If you want to be happy, really happy, by which I mean forging a meaningful life, here is what the research says you should do. First, look around you and value the people in your life. They are your true treasures, and you never know how much time you will have left with them. Engage in your communities and never miss an opportunity to relieve suffering or to be kind. Bloom wherever you are planted and be a positive force for change on this planet. Find good heroes in life and become a hero to someone else, especially the kids who hunger to share in the American dream but who lack opportunity. Be one of the good guys, as my wife likes to say. And finally, keep learning, because in the words of former Barnard College President Judith Shapiro, you want the inside of your head to be an interesting place to spend the rest of your life. So after beginning the talk telling you how uneasy I am about dispensing advice, I just spent the last 10 minutes heaping it on you, lest I disregard my daughter's advice and start heading into buzzkill territory. I will wrap it up. So let me just say, wherever your journey takes you, remember always to savor it, to treasure it, to treat it as the extraordinary gift it is, and most importantly, to come back to the college and to tell us about it. So we wish you the very best in the years to come, and please know that we are rooting for you. Thank you.
A reading from Isaiah. For I am about to create new heavens and a new earth. The former things shall not be remembered or come to mind, but be glad and rejoice forever in what I am creating. For I am about to create Jerusalem as a joy and its people as a delight. I will rejoice in Jerusalem and delight in my people. No more shall the sound of weeping be heard in it, or the cry of distress. No more shall there be an infant in it that lives but a few days, or an old person who does not live out a lifetime. For one who dies at 100 years will be considered a youth, and one who falls short of 100 years will be considered accursed. They shall build houses and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and eat their fruit. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For like the days of a tree shall my people be, and my chosen shall long enjoy the work of their hands.
A reading from the first letter of Paul to the Corinthians. Love is patient, love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will come to an end. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will come to an end. For we know only in part, and we prophesy only in part. When the complete comes, the partial will come to an end. When I was a child, I thought like a child. I spoke like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became an adult, I put an end to childish ways. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then we shall see face to face. Now I know only in part, then I will know fully, even as I have been fully known. And now faith, hope, and love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love.
A reading from the Holy Quran. O mankind, we created you from a single pair of a female and a male, and made you into nations and tribes, that you may know each other, not that you may despise each other. Verily the most honored of you, the one who is the most righteous of you.
Good afternoon. First, welcome, and thank you all. Thank you, President Riggs, and all the staff, administration, for this opportunity. I am here today to address you all as one of the baccalaureate speakers, but I cannot do that without honoring those who have brought me to this place at this time. First, giving honor to God, I would not be here without him. First, to my sister, who has always been my coach / cheerleader, because she's always managed to find a way to challenge me, but accept me win or lose. To my grandparents, thank you for supporting all of my vision and endeavors, no matter what the cost. To my mother, the woman who has guided me through experiences and still somehow managed to give me some sense of control. To my father, who has been a source of strength for me through word and deed. All of you have been vital in my push to, as we say, leave the nest. And as I flew, you all have always been mindful of my proximity to the ground, maintaining influence, but always allowing me the freedom to fly. I thank you for the gift that you all are to me. We have all had some level of influence on someone else's life, and we have surely been influenced by others, as I have been influenced by my family, friends, and colleagues. Class of 2017, we have been part of each other's lives for years now, and today we stand at the apex of that experience, gazing out at the view from the top of this mountain that we stood at the foot of 4 years ago. We stood in empty rooms and in front of heavy backpacks filled with books, wondering how would I impress that professor? How would I get along with that roommate? How would I make friends? How would I be as cool as this guy standing over here? You know, I could never be that awesome senior. We cast a vision, and we told ourselves that we could do it. We could get to this day, and we have. 4 years ago, we cast a vision for ourselves, and all of ours were different. Some of us are here because of things that were done for us to get us here, and some of us are here because, in spite of things that were done to us. We stood at the base of the mountain wondering how, but today we stand at the top thinking of when. When we were in the library until 4 a.m., when we wanted to be home so bad that we had to force ourselves not to weep in bed. When we thought that if we had just one more day, we could finish that assignment that was due in 4 hours. When we thought that we would never reach this day, we had to cast vision and say to ourselves that we would make it here. We had to cast vision for ourselves in order to make it to this day. And now we are commissioned to move further and cast our vision beyond what we see for ourselves, but in connection with others. In casting vision, it is important to encourage and foster understanding. What lies beyond Gettysburg College will consist of sharing our dreams and desires with others. And we will hopefully create environments where people will feel comfortable sharing their dreams and desires with us. It is our duty as learned individuals to push into the world and cast an inclusive vision. This will be a source of strength for those who may not have the same knowledge as you or I do, and engage those individuals in conversation. And they may not have the same benefits that our education has provided us. A wise man once said, "We are all caught in an inescapable network of mutuality." That man was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and what he was saying was that the language we use to communicate with others is vital to the success of the vision that we cast. I was with a faculty member in the Spanish department in McKnight Hall, and I was looking for another professor that I had to meet with. Now, this faculty member and I would usually speak in Spanish to each other because she knew I needed the practice. So I was in her office and I asked, "De dónde está la oficina de la profesora?" And for those who don't know, where is the office of the professor? And she said something back to me where I recognized a few words here and there, but not to the point of coherence. Language is about more than being able to say what you mean. It is also about understanding what others are saying when they reply. I stood there and all I could muster was, "Sí, muchas gracias." I told her what I needed, but I could not understand what she was telling me when she was giving me what I asked for. I could not understand because I was so preoccupied with ensuring that I could voice my thoughts that I never made the effort to understand hers. Class of 2017, we must understand that the vision we have for ourselves may not be the vision that others have, and we must be able to engage in communication and not force our own vision. Some may say that the solution to this issue of misunderstanding would be to spread our vision and the way we cast vision, as well as the way we communicate, so that others can understand what we want to say. But where would that leave us? In a homogeneous population of individuals oppressed by the fear of being different. How can we expand and improve our vision if we never see the ideas of others? What will become of a world that is a prisoner of homogeneity? If we never engage with perspectives that cause us to reach beyond our own, we will be left in stasis, never moving outside of our limited realm of possibility. We must sow the seeds of reciprocal ideation in order to really create a society that can grow. That inescapable network of mutuality is not a network that forces partnership, but it is a warning against isolation. We have seen the effects of isolation and unilateral vision casting in individuals such as Adolf Hitler and other social and political figures that propose that solutions to national crises lie in isolation and fear of the other. We, Gettysburg College, must go further. We must go deeper into discourse than our level of comfort may allow. We must deny the urge to isolate ourselves by casting a vision that reaches beyond ourselves. And it must include others in the space that we desire to create. We must cast a vision in the valley of collaboration that will provide hope at the foot of the mountain called opportunity. Gettysburg College, class of 2017, we stand at the top of a mountain, at the apex of this experience. Now, some would say that we have reached the mountaintop, we have made it to the end. But I would challenge you that we need to realize that this is one mountain along a beautiful journey of peaks and valleys that will lead to life beyond this place, beyond this peak, beyond the top of this mountain. We are at the top of this experience, but we are about to descend into new valleys. Not valleys of despair or destruction, but valleys of new experiences. We will see things in the valleys that will challenge us and will cause us to think that we may not be able to make it. We will make it to the foot of the mountain and again ask ourselves, how? And we will have to again cast vision saying that it is possible. Only this time, we will have shared our vision with others. And we will see that we will not be scaling these peaks and valleys alone. At the foot of the next mountain, our vision will have cultivated a passion within others where you will recognize your collaborators, and together you will stand at the mountaintop and say, I remember we did it together. Today, Gettysburg College, class of 2017, we stand together. And after casting a vision, saying that we would do it, we're standing here at the top of this mountain, and we've done it. Now, let's go into another valley so that we can stand at another mountaintop with other visionaries and say again that we did it together. Thank you.
Lord, open our hearts and minds to understanding and further learning. Help us to delight in the wonderful diversity of races and cultures found in this world. We stand today as responsible, self-determined persons willing to work to break bonds of oppression and suffering. May we do this with conscious acts of compassion, intelligence, and love.
Your mercy is never ending. As you have touched our lives, we hope we may share with the world our passions, our determination, our understandings, and knowledge. May the greatness we have discovered here continue as we witness your presence in our lives.
You call us to paths of justice. Receive our supplications for those who teach and those who learn, that we may, and our generation, work for the enrichment and healing of our communities and the world around us. Bless us in this time of new beginning.
Sovereign of the universe, your covenant is with us all in all creation. Water, earth, and sky are yours, as are their inhabitants, wild and tame. As we share your image, and as creation groans in the woodedness, may we befriend, enrich, protect, and repair this universe in which we dwell.
President Riggs, trustees, distinguished faculty, friends, family, and my fellow graduates, I'm truly humbled and honored to be able to speak with you all today. Thank you. My name is Tiara Riggins, and just like every single person with whom I am graduating, I am one of many voices in this brilliant graduating class of 2017. I look around here today, and I see my family, especially my parents, who have never failed to nurture me in the most encouraging and loving way. My mentors, who have challenged me to envision new possibilities. And I see my friends, especially my crew of Black Magic, who inspire me every day to be a better version of myself. I would like to ask my fellow graduates to look around. Look at the faces of those whom you are sitting next to. Maybe you see a person that you really didn't know was graduating with you. And maybe you're asking why you didn't know that person when you shared that hungry glance at the Servo cookie section, because I'm doing that right now, honestly. Look around and see the smiling, proud faces of your family, friends, faculty, and mentors. This is your community. Without their support, the journey that brought us to this day may have been even rockier. We owe you all much thanks from the bottom of our hearts. And lastly, when you leave, take one last look at these pathways. The pathways that kept us grounded as we stumbled back to our first-year dorms on a Friday night, and cheerfully greeted our friends when they resurfaced from marathon study sessions for midterms and finals. The pathways that helped each and every one of us to create, or for some of us crash, into our unique Gettysburg College experiences. Look around, soak it all in, and smile. We have been blessed beyond measure to have this college experience, so full of resources and so incredibly full of history. It was here that our founder, Samuel Simon Schmucker, publicly spoke against the immoral and inhumane conditions that slavery forced upon the builders of this nation. It was here where soldiers were protected and healed during the Civil War. It was here on this land that this college's founding principles were cultivated. The worth and dignity of all people and the limitless value of their intellectual potential. The free and open exchange of ideas and the exploration of ethical and spiritual dimensions. And the value of ethical leadership that is inclusive, collaborative, and directed towards effecting change for the greater good. Gettysburg College has done well in its past. However, it would be rather lackluster of us to have access to these values, call ourselves Gettysburg great, and decide to be indifferent to the urgency of our mission in these times. We are the fortunate ones, the small percentage who have had global experiences, sustained political and philosophical debates, and the amazing social and professional networks that Gettysburg College offers. Understanding the value of everything that we carry with us as we leave this place, we bear a responsibility to our alma mater to put our learning to good use. We were taught to know and understand the world in which we live. Therefore, we have a moral obligation to advocate for the global community, for people and places in dire need, to not turn our backs toward those who chant, "My life matters, my body, my choice. No human being is illegal. No más muertes en la frontera, no more deaths at the border. Love is love, and Black Lives Matter." We also have the responsibility to organize, to chant in the streets in defense of human rights, to be educators committed to broadening minds, policymakers committed to changing laws, doctors who serve everyone, regardless of their backgrounds, business owners who choose to uplift communities, not tear them apart, artists who use creativity to challenge the stifling oppression that holds us all in chains, and lastly, to be Gettysburg alumni who refuse to settle for anything less than great. We will all go on to climb mountains sculpted for our personal journeys. Though you may feel as though you have a lot to carry, the weight on your shoulders will lessen as you share burdens along the way, and never forget that love will always trump hate. The burden becomes lighter when we remember that we don't carry it alone. We have traversed the pathways of Gettysburg together, so we go forth into the world not alone as individuals, but as the class of 2017. Congratulations and thank you.
Good evening. I would like to begin by thanking all the friends, family, and faculty, and of course, JMR, for taking the time, for providing the class of 2017 with so much to be thankful for. Most importantly, I would like to thank the class of 2017 with providing me with this opportunity to speak in front of you today. I am unable to put in my own words how I feel a lot of us are feeling. Instead, I would like to quote the young, famous Canadian pop singer, Justin Bieber, when he said, "What do you mean?" Despite many of us sad about graduating tomorrow, we are truly fortunate to be a part of a school that makes you want to do a fifth year. It feels like yesterday that we all walked through Penn Hall and were welcomed into the Gettysburg community. Despite each member of our class coming from a variety of states and different countries, the one thing that unites us all is our decision to attend Gettysburg College. This unity has formed a bond that will differentiate us for the rest of the world for life. Who would have thought that despite all the points and countless dips in the fountain that we'd be graduating tomorrow? We beat the odds and endured a lot along the way, making our 4 years at Gettysburg unforgettable. We survived the government shutting down, those 2 weeks Yik Yak wasn't censored, sprinting to the bathroom after the first time you ate at Servo, sprinting to the bathroom after every time you ate at Servo, Ebola, and the most recent presidential election. As years progressed, we changed a lot, but so did the school. Remember when everyone freaked out about the new pizza place by Apps, also known as Antica? Or when we said goodbye to some memorable fraternities? Or when Servo became trayless? And let's not forget when Apps had back doors. Change is inevitable, but like the bull bringing back karaoke, some things will never change. Tradition is one of the main reasons it's so hard to say goodbye to Gettysburg. But who are we all kidding? We'll be back for Alumni Weekend in the fall. The main thing that differentiates Gettysburg from other schools is our bizarre traditions that we've all grown to love. I don't know any other school whose students come back early to celebrate first years walking past them, let alone calls freshmen first years, or puts as much pride and importance in our academics as we do in winning our intramural sports. Gettysburg's passion for food is one key factor I assure we will all truly miss. Gettysburg gives us the food hookup, from Servo cookies to milkshakes at Light Fair to getting blasted at Servo and Chicken Finger Friday. You would think they stopped there, but that wouldn't make us Gettysburg great, would it? Nothing beats a late night fry-bro from Servo Truck, Midnight Madness, Thanksgiving dinner, and the free food during finals. Oh, and Servo cookies. Did I mention them already? Because they're so good, they deserve to be mentioned twice. If it wasn't for our faculty, none of this would be possible. On behalf of the class of 2017, I would like to thank all the faculty members who've truly made our experiences here, Gettysburg, great. Thank you to all the professors who've extended their office hours just to help us understand difficult material, even taking the time to meet with us on weekends, helping us search for jobs, and writing our graduate school recommendations. Thank you for providing us with the tools to deal with any complex problem that comes our way as we embark in this new chapter of our lives. These memories from these various moments we've acquired over our 4 years at Gettysburg will live in our hearts forever. Class of 2017, I would like to leave you with a quote from Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, because it is one that truly encompasses our achievements from the years we spent here. Our class has set new athletic and academic records, participated in research discoveries, and found lifelong friends. They may forget what we said here, but they won't forget what we did here. Thank you.
you'd hold me till the pains of life were gone. You said you'd comfort me in times of these, and now I need you, and now I need you. And you are gone. So I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty of the world through my own eyes. Since you've gone and left me, there's been so little beauty, but I know I saw it clearly through your eyes. Now the world outside is such a cold and bitter place. Here inside I have few things that will console. And when I try to hear your voice above the storms of life, then I remember that I was alone. Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty of the world through my own eyes. Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty of the world through my own eyes. I think on the things that made me feel so wonderful when I was young. I think on the things that made me laugh, made me dance, made me sing. I think on the things that made me grow into a being full of pride. I think on these things, for they are true. And I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty of the world through my own eyes. I thought that you were gone, but now I know you're with me. You are the voice that whispers all that I need to hear. I know a please and thank you, and a smile will take me far. I know that I am you, and you are me, and we are one. I know that who I am is numbered in each grain of sand. I know that I've been blessed again and over again. Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty of the world through my own eyes. Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty of the world through my own
Let us thank them once again. Thank you, class of 2017. Thank you, my colleagues in the faculty and administration of the college. And thank you, student participants, for your efforts this day and your work. There is greatness here, and it can be found in simply allowing the jewel that is the person in front of us to be who they are. So thank you. And If you will, let us rise and hear the benediction. Hear the benediction. God ever faithful, God ever merciful, God of all people, hear our prayer. Your everlasting love endures, blessing us with hope, guiding us on our ways. Regard this class of 2017, guard and keep them under your watchful eye, that they may forever seek your will and follow your way in what they say and do. Speak to them with the power of your compassionate spirit, that in their life and service they may find ways to bridge the chasms that divide us one from another. Help them to hold to what is good and turn from evil. And now, may God bless and keep you. May God's radiance shine upon you. May God's favor be forever with you and give you peace. Amen. Now.